one of the most important teachings of Zen is to be free of reactivity and just embody absolute presence. And it's such simplicity in that. Very powerful, extremely powerful teaching embodied by the Zen masters, who on most paintings look quite fierce. If you've seen drawings of Zen masters, they look quite fierce. But if they're good drawings, and if you look closely, then they're real works of art, then you can see underneath the fierceness there is compassion and softness. The fierceness is there to cut through mind and ego in the other. Many years ago I talked to a Zen monk. That was about 2 or 3 years after I went through this awakening. And I was visiting a monastery, and he said, well, Zen is really to do about not thinking. And that was a great teaching for me, because I suddenly realized why I had been so peaceful for the past 2 years. There wasn't much thinking going on anymore in my head. Some, with a necessary amount, but certainly not thinking that makes me unhappy. That was my usual thinking, was thinking that made me continuously unhappy. I didn't know that it was my thinking. I thought it was something to do with my life. I'm unhappy because of my miserable life. But what was my miserable life? My miserable life was the thoughts in my head. That was my life. There was nothing wrong with my life there. Yes, I didn't have any money. I lived in a little room in, as they call bedsit in London, and where you cook and do everything in one room. And I had to share the bathroom with 7 or 8 people in different rooms, and always had to line up for the toilet, and I had constipation because of that, and many other things, little complaints, but on the whole it was fine. But the problem was, the unhappiness was in my head. It was my thoughts. And so the anxiety, what's going to happen to me, am I going to make it? The anxiety, or opinions about my life, how dreadful it all is. Thoughts. And then that night the thoughts kind of collapsed, and then I woke up the next morning in the same dreadful room, which wasn't dreadful anymore, and into the same dreadful life, which wasn't dreadful anymore suddenly, because the dreadful was a thought and the rest was a life. So I woke up and it was beautiful, it was fine. There's nothing wrong with this room. There's nothing wrong with waiting for the toilet. You can just wait. But I didn't realize, I said, where does that peace come from? I don't know. So I visited some teachers and say, and until finally I met the Zen monk, I can't remember the name even, and he said, well, Zen is really about not thinking anymore. And that was a great teaching for me, because I suddenly realized why I had been so peaceful for the past 2 years. And the strange thing was, I didn't know that I wasn't thinking that much anymore. I just wasn't thinking that much anymore. And the non-thinking I experienced as peace. So I called it peace. But not until I talked to him did I realize, oh, it's because my mind isn't very active anymore. There's the inner voice in the head. The voice in the head isn't saying that much anymore. And if the little that the voice is still saying is not very important. And so the voice doesn't make me unhappy anymore with the little that it's still saying. It just says a few things. It says things, oh, isn't that nice? So it doesn't make you unhappy. It's a great step if the voice in your head loses its power to make you unhappy. That's the end of unhappiness, because all unhappiness really derives from the voice in your head telling you something, and you believe it. It's not, and then when that goes, you look around and says, oh, there's no unhappiness in this table, or this flower, or the air I'm breathing, or the street scene I'm looking at, or the tree, or the cup of tea, or there's no unhappiness anywhere. It was all in here. But I didn't know that. It was in here, and I thought it was all out there. So that's awakening. Whether it happens gradually, as it happens to many of you as you sit here, or whether it happens suddenly through some huge knock on your head that knocks the thoughts out of you. But it doesn't, you don't become stupid. You become more intelligent. When excessive thinking subsides, you would have thought, or the mind probably would have thought, oh, I'll become stupid because I won't be knowing things anymore. You don't need to know a lot of things that you think you need to know. For example, about other people. You don't need to have firm opinions about who they are, because then you freeze them. They get frozen into conceptual structures in your head. You do it to other humans. It's almost an act of violence. You freeze them and say, that's how he is, how she is. That's she. Just a few judgments and concepts, and you've wrapped up the whole person. There it is. Dreadful thing to do to a person, but it's unconscious, of course. So you don't do that anymore to others. Oh, doesn't that improve relationships with other humans? And then you don't do it to yourself, because people who do it to others do it to themselves also. Just a bundle of thoughts about who I am. That's not who you are. You are infinitely deeper and vaster than that. It's absurd. So to let go of those opinions about myself and others, and then life flows. Beautiful in relationships, the flow of life in yourself. You allow others their freedom. And you yourself become free. You feel free inside. So that Zen monk then gave me the recognition of why I had been so peaceful over the past 2 years. Thinking. And so I began slowly, and then when later people came to ask me a few questions, then later gradually I pointed out that there's a voice in your head. I don't know when I first said it to somebody. And they said, what? I'm not insane. I said, yes, you are. But so is everybody else, and I was too. And of course, that's the reason why very few people understand Zen. The reason is you can't understand it conceptually. That's why we have the famous Zen story. Well, I don't know if it's famous, but we have a Zen story where the disciple is asked by the master in the usual way of the Zen master. He kind of catches the disciple by surprise. "Do you understand Zen?" says the master. And the disciple goes, "No, I don't." And the master says, "Neither do I." So the difference between the disciple and the master is the disciple doesn't understand but thinks he should understand, and the master doesn't understand and is fully okay with not understanding, so he's at a deeper level. The need to understand conceptually is gone, and there is rooted in being and presence. And the disciple thinks, "I should understand, I should understand." And it's not only Zen because it's yourself. You don't need to understand yourself. Many people are kind of trying to figure out something about themselves, some ultimate answer about who I am or what's wrong with me. Many people have that persistent feeling that there's something wrong with them. Many people believe they are a problem to be solved, a walking problem to be solved. So you go to the psychiatrist and say, "Can you solve the problem that I am?" So to have some final conclusion about me, you can't. Because you're much too vast and deep to be encapsulated in a few thoughts, no matter how complex the thoughts may be. It's not who you are. So the need to understand yourself is just as, to drop that is just as vital as if you want to understand Zen, because ultimately the essence of Zen is you. Otherwise it's not a subject outside of you, it would be pointless. If Zen were a subject to be studied outside of you, what's the point? But Zen is just a way of approaching the reality of who you are. So, to understand Zen, or to let go of the need to understand, it really means also to let go of the need to understand who you are. And then you go deeper into an intelligence that does not need to be conceptualized through thoughts. And then you're rooted in that vaster intelligence. You don't become stupid, you become, for the first time, truly intelligent. You're rooted in that deep intelligence. Creativity resides there, aliveness, freshness, joy in there. And you're there because you don't need to have an opinion anymore about yourself, to have your identity derived from some thoughts in your head. Or you ask others, "What do you think of me?" I don't want to know what you think of me, it's just thoughts. I don't even think anything of me myself. So I don't need to know what others think of me, it's just thoughts. Some person says he's the greatest teacher ever, the other says he's a fraud, the other one says he's talking mumbo jumbo, the other one says he's talking great wisdom. It's just thoughts. So to let go of needing to understand yourself, and then you can be yourself, rather than have and derive your sense of identity of who you are from that deeper level that is not conceptualized. Aliveness. Alive peace. And you live as that and not as the conceptualized identity in the head. That's the unhappy me that I carried around, and many carry around in the head. Conceptualized identity. And it's always not enough. There's always something missing. It always needs more of this or more of that, and confirmation that I exist, that I'm good enough. Please tell me I'm good enough. Amazing awakening. No problems. You don't have any problems unless you go here and look for them. Just the situation in this moment. Just whatever you need to deal with in this moment. There is no problem in this moment. Because at any moment you can look for it and ask yourself whether there is truly a problem in your life. But always there's the simplicity of this moment. Just this. You have to be alert to see, is there a problem? Not really, not now. And then again, because the mind says, no, but you're going to have a problem tomorrow morning. And then when tomorrow morning comes, you have to go there again. Say, is there a problem now? Not now, because now is too small for a problem. It's just whatever the situation is now. For a problem, you have to go into your mind. And suddenly you go... past and future. What's the image of Atlas, the man who carries the globe, the earth on his shoulders? Oh, can't stand it anymore. Life, I can't stand life anymore. Can't stand it. Well, what you can't stand isn't life, it's the stuff in your head. The truth is liberating. It's a relief. Who said that? Oh yes, the truth will make you free. Oh no, that's not complete. Know the truth, and the truth will make you free. So the truth itself is fine, but to know it, which means realize it is within yourself, know the truth. That's the truth of who you are. And the truth will make you free. "2,000 years ago, in case you haven't read the New Testament,